Hey photographers all over the world, this is Charles Lewis and welcome to this exciting event, this holiday marketing summit, if you will. What marketing to do, to whom, and when to bring in the most money during the holiday season. And wow, is it time already? Hard to believe. But I'll tell you, one of the biggest mistakes most photographers make, which accounts for the reason for most photographers failing, is they don't invest in marketing, either their time or their efforts, or learning and studying and discovering the best things that work. And I can't think of the word, congratulate you for being here today, because this is going to be a really exciting, and I don't know, if you take action on this stuff, it's going to be life-changing. No kidding. It sure was for me when I discovered this stuff. And joining us today is my son and business partner, Mr. Todd Lewis. Hi, Todd.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. And an important timing of this. If you're sitting there thinking that, boy, holidays. I mean, we're still in September. This is the time that you need to be thinking about this. So I'm glad that we're covering this. And before we introduce our third person on here, which I'll turn it back over to you to do that, Dad, I just want to ask that those of you that are on the event live, if you would just type a quick message in the questions box, let us know you can see and hear us okay. That would be great. This is kind of our way of doing our sound check.
You bet. And also joining us today from the great state of Maine is a terrific photographer, business person. This guy really gets it done. His name is Thomas Morelli. Hi, Tom.
Hello, Chuck. Perfect introduction, young man.
Well, thank you.
Your Christmas present will be big this year.
And, I can't wait.
And hello, everyone. It is great to be here. And indeed, even though the outside temperatures right now are still rather toasty here in Maine as we head into the fall, this is the time to be looking at what we're going to talk about today, so that during the busy part of the year, you're not going, gee, I wish I had done more because I don't have that many clients. Well, we're going to help you with that today.
Yeah, because this is a huge time for us. All photographers, how can you capitalize on it the very best? What's the smartest things to do that don't cost a fortune, that don't take yes, it takes time, but they don't take days and days and days and days of time for most of them, that you can really have a good clientele. We're not just talking about clients, we're talking about good clients. Clients who love what you do, are willing to invest more money for it than a lot of photographers in your area charge, and are really excited, who will cry when they see their photographs. That's your target market. And that's where we want to spend our time, is going after our target market of people. And right. Of course, without any doubt, families are the best, hands down, for so many obvious reasons.
Yeah,
but there are other.
And we'll get to that in just a second. I want to stay on this topic for just a moment, because anyone that's watching this thinking, oh man, this is too early to think about this, you need to have this stuff in place ahead of time. Because if you try to rush this and just throw something out there and think you've got all the time in the world, that is when you make terrible mistakes that cost you the effectiveness of your marketing during this crucial time of year. So if you're wondering why we're covering this stuff, in September, October, going into literally the beginning of the holiday season, starting with the holiday of Halloween. This is why, and you'll see as we go through this takes some prep. This takes a plan, and we are giving you that plan today.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I was talking about here, is the family portraits are just absolutely, hands down, the most profitable, artistically challenging and fun, especially when you do them on location, at a location that is meaningful to the client and the family. They're just the best. So you always want to really kind of keep that as your forefront. And then I always looked at it that the other things like children, couples, single women as a gift for their husband, things like that are just kind of spin-offs that just sort of come along. But if you really go after the families, it's very profitable. Right, Tom?
That's right. And, nothing fits more with the timing of holiday portrait photography and marketing than families. Because really, when you stop and think about the holidays, it's when people get together. It's when people are giving gifts to each other, that family love, that family feeling, whether it's just a couple or 25 people. And, the holiday's perfect because in so much of our marketing, one of the components is a deadline. And we're going to talk more about that. Well, the holiday is a deadline. It's built in. It's implied that that's coming up. There, you can't give a holiday gift in February unless it's for Valentine's Day, but that's later on. So this is a great time to be doing this, and all these types of photography work together with the holiday feeling.
Absolutely.
Well, let's dive in here with our first key point. And before we do that, I just wanted to say, Shirley, I see your question that you typed into the questions box, and I'm very glad that you typed that question in, and we will get to that probably at the end of this event during our kind of Q&A section. So hang on for that. People are going to want to hear this, which is she's talking about Christmas cards and how do you handle Christmas cards. So we will deal with that when we get toward the end of this event. Thank you for submitting that question, Shirley. All right, first off, making Facebook bring you in clients with specific posts for the holidays. I don't think there's much argument here. I'm sure some people out there might question this, but the single biggest thing online marketing right now is still Facebook boosted posts, because our target market frequents Facebook. Our target market is still very much on Facebook. So, anyone that says, well, isn't TikTok the big thing now, and Instagram and all these other things. And while Instagram also is very big and also owned by Facebook, by Meta, the parent company of Facebook, Facebook is still where our target market is. And that's all we care about, is appealing to our target market. The people out there that are the price shoppers, or that are just looking for something really quick, or who just want all the digital files and that's it, and want to pay peanuts for it, they are not our target market. And that's okay. They can be on TikTok and and Twitter and all these other things. But our target market is on Facebook, and it's still hotter and less expensive than Google pay-per-click. It's instant, and it's not being done correctly. So many photographers, by very many photographers, so you can capitalize on it by doing it correctly now. The use of Facebook alone has brought Tom an average of $25,000 in sales during the holidays each year over the last 10 years, and at a cost of only around $200 to $300 per year. Now, we're going to share the specific posts that he's utilized throughout this section, so don't click away from this. This stuff really works. So, Tom, I want to give you just very, very quickly a moment to comment on that. I mean, truthfully, you and I talked extensively in preparation for this to make sure that these numbers are accurate. Over the last 10 years, and you actually said it's actually been more than that, but over the last 10 years, $25,000 average in sales only during the holidays. Is that correct?
That's right. And, I was even amazed when I first began using boosted posts many years ago, and it's evolved a bit in Facebook and gotten better because you can get real specific with who sees these. But the return on investment, which some people may not see the term ROI, and they're like, what's that mean? That's basically what you invest, how much you get back out of it in gross sales in this case. And that is always amazing. And those numbers still blow me away, but they are true, and they work every year for me.
Fantastic. That's why we're starting with this, because if you want something that's quick, that is, relatively easy to do. I mean, the wording is not easy, but the actual creation of stuff on Facebook is very easy and is very cost effective. In fact, you can do a lot of things for free. And then if you do the boosted posts, we're just talking small amounts of money, $10, $15 at a pop. This is where we need to start. So let's talk about the 3 ways to use Facebook to bring you clients during the holidays. Number 1 are regular posts that are done right. What we mean by this is a regular post is just a post you would put out on your Facebook page for your business. You're not boosting it. You're not paying anything to have it be seen by people who don't already know who you are, anything like that. But they have to be done right, because when they're done right, the people who are already following you will be intrigued, will want to take action, will share it, will comment, will share it with people that they know that may be of interest in this as well during the holiday season. Number 2 are boosted posts for sessions. And this is obviously where you'll take some of those posts, maybe those regular posts that you did, and you'll boost them. You'll invest $10, $15, $20 max to get it out to people in your community who don't already know who you are and are not already friends with you or have liked your page on Facebook. That's huge. That's the question I get asked the most from people when we're talking about Facebook is, well, I don't have any followers. I don't have any people who've liked my page. I don't, that's not going to work for me. And I say, no, this is a route that you can go to get it out there to people who don't already know who you are. And how many marketing things can you do that can reach hundreds, maybe even 1,000 or more people for like $10 and get action right away? That's the other wonderful thing about Facebook. And then boosted posts for certificates. So we've got 2 different uses of boosted posts here that we're going to talk about in length here. The first one for getting actual sessions, which is going to be our primary focus right now at the beginning of the season. And then as we go through the season, certificates become an option as well. So let's talk here about how to post for free on Facebook to get clients to book with you right now. And that's the regular posting that we talked about, the keys to successful holiday posts on Facebook that actually bring in clients. So Tom, I want to start, showing some of the posts that you've done here, but I also want to talk about the specifics of how you created them, because you make this look so easy. And I know a lot of the stuff that you're utilizing is stuff that you've learned from us over the years. We've worked together on so many different things over the years as well. And we know, the 3 of us, how important every word is in the creation of our marketing. And so you make it look so easy. And for you, I think now it is easier than it was potentially 10, 15 years ago when you first started really doing stuff online. You're able to do it a lot better now. And so I hope people will take pay close attention to the words that you're using in these posts, as well as your pointers that you give of why you created them the way you created them.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tom.
No, I was going to say there are several elements. I see you brought the first one up here, which is extremely important because obviously you are a portrait photographer. When I first started using Facebook, oh gosh, almost 15 years ago, and then as it developed into using business pages, I noticed that if I selected portraits that attracted attention, specifically in this case for the holidays, that was the first step. You had to get people to stop and look as they scrolled through. And again, we're talking about a regular post. We're not even talking boosted at this point. Something that catches people's eyes and their attention. So just something small, a graphic of the little the bow, just tells them, okay, it's a present. I see, I get it. This goes toward this time of year. And then we get more into the copy, which we'll be talking about here. So show your best work and show the type of work, obviously, that you want to have people call you for and invest in. So don't put up sunsets and landscapes and pictures of, pretty pictures, which are fine. But that's not what you're in business for, or at least in the portrait business. You want to have portraits of people that are the very best you can do, so people see them, they stop, and then once they've stopped, they're going to take the next step, which is reading your copy.
That's an important point. So Tom used a word that we don't typically use, and he used it to illustrate the difference between a quote-unquote picture, which is not what we create. We don't create pictures.
Right.
Pictures are things that everyone creates with their cell phones and they snapshots and stuff like that. We create photographs, portraits, fine portraiture. And that is what he is showing here. And the way he's showcasing it in his posts with that bow on there, at an immediate glance, there's 2 things that are happening here. And please take note of this, people. These are the important things. The details are what make these work. The photograph in a frame with the bow on it does 2 immediate things as people are scrolling through their Facebook wall, through their newsfeed, and this pops up. Number 1, that bow in the corner immediately says gift, holidays. Specifically with it being a red bow, it really kind of says the, Christmas, Hanukkah, the holiday season of, November, December, at the tail end of the year. But the other thing that it does is by showing a photograph in a frame, is he is immediately starting to get the people who might be envisioning these as wall portraits to be the ones that reach out to call him, because that's our target market. Our target market are not the people who just want digital files or very, small 8x10s and things like that. I mean, that's fine. And there are a lot of photographers out there that'll do some work for them. That'll be just fine. We're looking for the people that want wall portraits, and that's what this is doing. Make no mistake, it's not an accident that he put that in a frame with the bow on it. And it ties into the words. Notice this one that we're looking at right here. The first sentence of his post is, "Do you love your family?" Okay, it ties in immediately. Looking at that photograph with the bow on it in the frame, that makes sense when you see, "Do you love your family?" And then he goes on to say, "I sure love mine." And if you're like me, you really want to show off that love to the world, your family and friends. If we just stopped there, immediately you can see how the posts that Tom is putting out there are working for him, because they're different than what the majority of photographers are putting out there themselves. Here's another great example. This one does not have the frame or the bow on it, but who is not going to stop scrolling when they see that photograph? At least our target market is, because guess what? Our target market, the most important thing to them in the world is their family. That's the most important thing to them. And this screams family, the start of a new life in that family. Tom, do you want to just very quickly talk about why you chose this image for this post?
Yeah, this is part of our promoting our baby plan. And I want to mention quickly about the little clip art, the bow. You can go on and get royalty-free clip art for any holiday, whether it's Hanukkah, Christmas, whatever you want to have on there. So you don't have to just use that red bow, but just get creative just to signify and catch their eye, and then they get the point. In this case, for our baby plan, this is a newborn or 6 week, I think it was. And I just wanted to still tie it into Christmas. So the copy does relate to that, of a tale of a sweet little fox dreaming of Christmas. It was a very good boy this year. So I still added even without the clip art, kind of a holiday element to it. And people just love photographs. They love babies, even if they're expecting or they have children who have grown up, it takes them back. This also catches people's eyes, particularly if they're our target market. Either a grandparent they're expecting a grandchild, they invest a lot in our baby plan for their sons or daughters.
All right, thank you for sharing that there. So you see, the choice of the image is important. It has to be congruent and connecting with the words that you're using in the post. Now let's talk about some holiday specific posts and the emotional copy that goes into them, because that's the key. Don't forget the quote unquote headline. Now you might be thinking, but Tom, how do you do a headline on Facebook? They're not really set up to do that in regular posts. And this is kind of how you get away with doing that. So here's an example of a post. Now, again, all of the posts that we are showing you here, every single one of them, are posts that Tom has used over the last 5 or 10 years, including as recently as just last year, to bring in the clients that bring him in that extra $25,000 just in the tail end of the year, strictly from the Facebook stuff. Now, the stuff all combined that we're talking about today can bring in as much as 40 grand over the course of just the holiday season on average. But right now we're just talking Facebook stuff. Now look at this post here. Do you have your Christmas tree up yet? Now that's one of them that I think we were just kind of showing and talking about. It may seem too soon to talk about the holidays. However, we are less than 10 weeks away from Christmas Day. How about an emotional, loving, unforgettable gift this year? Now see, emotional, it's talking on an emotional level. It immediately talks about the holidays, because this particular one was used to be sent out obviously 10 weeks or so away from Christmas Day. Starts right out with what looks like a headline, because it draws your attention. Again, as you're scrolling, our job is to stop people in their tracks and get them to start reading the message we have there. Then the wording of that message, its job is to get them to pick up the phone and call us right now just to inquire about what we're showing them here. And do you have your Christmas tree up yet? Immediately gets people's attention. It's got those asterisks around it to kind of draw attention to it and have it pop off the page. Let's take a look at another one here. Do you love your family? Just like the one we just showed you. Now we're focusing on the words and taking the focus off the photograph itself. As we said, I sure love mine. And if you're like me, you want to show off that love to the world, your family and friends. There's no better way than a professional and meaningful family portrait. And guess what? Creating those family portraits have been my specialty for over 35 years. You must cry tears of joy when you see your portraits, or you won't pay me. But I'm only one man, so I can only accept 9 families for Christmas gift giving, and then the offer closes. I'm going to stop there for right now. There's 5, 6 different things that are happening in those words in just the first half of that post, not the least of which are talking on an emotional level, talking about the importance of family, how it shows that Tom is like his potential clients. He says, if you're like me, right? That's showing that because people like to work with people that they like. There's no better way than a professional and meaningful family portrait. He didn't call it a picture. He called it a portrait. And then creating those portraits have been my specialty for over 35 years. It shows that he's been doing this for a while. So if you're a photographer that's been around for a long time and you think that the people out there only want to work with, well, I'm old, I've been doing this a long time, nobody wants to work with the old person, they want the new person. No, they don't. They want the person that they know has been doing this a long time, because you have the expertise to now create something incredible. So that's a benefit and not a detriment. You must cry tears of joy when you see these, or you don't pay me. That's that incredible guarantee. And then saying, I'm only one man, I can only accept 9 families. It immediately gives that sense of scarcity. All of that done in about 5 sentences. So important. And none of that is accidental.
Todd, if you don't mind, if I can add one quick point, I think it's important on that last slide, is notice that that is from me. It doesn't say Thomas Morelli has been a photographer for 35 years. No, it's a note from me. It's conversational. We want to act as if we're talking to the person, not talking at them in an ad. And also, from a very small technical point, the little asterisks, or asterisks as they call them in Maine, is you can use tree emojis. There's all kinds of emojis now you can use. I happen to use asterisks on this particular one, but you can catch the eye even with more colorful holiday-related little ways to set off your headline. So I just thought I wanted to point those 2 things out. Have these be from you, and you can also be a little more colorful in those.
Yeah, and the personality is such an important thing too. On that last photograph of the ad we were talking about, you had a little smiley face. Now see, that says something about Tom. Not only was it from him.
Oh no.
Oh no. But he puts a little smiling face after it too, just like your friends do when they send you a Facebook message or a social media message. So personality is a major key. Have fun, but be careful, and let your personality shine. So when we say, but be careful, we want to steer away from religion. We want to steer away from politics, anything that's extremely controversial, but you want to make fun, have fun, be quick, have a personality and let it show, just like this does. Talk about this one, Tom. This one didn't work at all, did it?
Well, my wife did see it and said, all my friends are talking about this. What did you do? And I showed her, and I think the last thing she said was, really? Then she went in the other room, but it was very effective. And the elf on the shelf, if you call and buy a portrait gift certificate, I'll make this go away. Okay, so I'm just having fun. And everybody has different styles. This may be a little too goofy for you if you're on here listening to this going, I wouldn't do that. Well, I don't mind being a bit self-effacing, and this is memorable.
It is.
I haven't, people ask me during the, are you going to do that elf on the shelf again? I'm like, oh, hide your eyes. But anything that makes people talk and remember you, but they also see, well, this person looks like they'd be fun to work with. This is not going to be a stuffy, photo session. I'll use that term, where he's going to come in and be real gruff and mean. He's going to have fun with us. And if you're going to show personality in a cold medium like electronics, you have to do some things sometimes that stick out.
Yeah, and you are so creative with these things. And I really think that shows, because you're that way in person as well. You're very quick and funny, but always in good taste. Talk about this one.
Yeah. Well, we draw from everyday events, things that you've heard, sayings, and this little baby in our baby plan, this 3-month-old, I sometimes headlines kind of write themselves. Now, normally we do not try to write copy on top of a photograph.
Yep.
It's not usually done, but in some cases, I wanted this to look like this little baby was thinking this, so I put the kind of broke my own rule. And all I want for Christmas are my own 2 front teeth. Well, any teeth, because obviously at that age, there are no teeth. But this got a lot of attention. People love that look on the baby's face, like the baby's really thinking that. And this is very effective, and I do a lot of these.
Yeah, so think about yourself here for a minute, and what is it about you that people like and enjoy? And is there some particular part of you that people really have a good time with? And so that you can show that you are a person. That's why, as Tom already mentioned, you want it to be from you to them, not just saying it in the third person that your photography business has existed for so many. No, you want to have a personality. Social media means social.
All right, next up is the offer and discount. So again, we're showing you the keys to having Facebook posts that actually work. And it's the wording, it's what you put in those words. So Tom, let's talk a little bit about the offers and discounts. Now, again, our goal with our marketing is always, first and foremost, to get them to pick up the phone and call us. Why? You might be asking why, and you should ask why. Because that's where our target, that's how we get our target market to book with us. Not by conversing with them over Messenger or conversing with them through email. That's so impersonal and it just doesn't work. We need a two-way conversation, and that only happens either in person or over the telephone. And our first step is to get them on the phone. And that's what all of Tom's posts are doing here. And he's doing that for a reason, because it works. So here, $149 Little Miracles baby plan. Did you know that you can get in on our amazing and fun Little Miracles baby plan for as little as $149, or all the way up to our top of the line $399 plan and a few in between. Now, Tom, I want you to talk about why you opted to go this approach, because I don't want to say that's not a very emotional approach. I mean, I guess saving money is an emotion, you know, it's a desire. But why did you opt to go that route here with your baby plan? And also, while he's talking about that, everyone, take a look at the image that's down there and you'll see why that is so important to everything that he's saying here.
Yeah, I thought I would let my little graphic here in this particular piece of marketing kind of do the heavy lifting. I put a little note about it's as if it was a I think it's a brother or a sister, or yeah, that just said, you know, I would like to have a little brother, and left a cookie for Santa. So that was kind of the emotional component, and of course, as is newborns. So I took that, put it all together, a little bit of holiday feel, and made the offer at the top, as we do, where whenever you do an offer, it's up to you, you know, how you do it. We don't often put prices in our marketing, because that's not, we want them to call us and do our system takes us through how to present our pricing. But in this case, with our baby plan, I have found through testing that just showing the initial investment in the baby plan itself, which is not the whole works, but it gets them to call and say it's a price point, because a lot of families, maybe when they first had their baby, are a little concerned. So we make that particular offer and get people to call, and then we can talk to them more about what's involved. In this case, you know, everybody's into Black Friday and Cyber Monday and all that stuff. So I went the other way. Forget Black Friday and Cyber Monday. You don't need that. Yeah, here's Pink and Blue Tuesday. You know, relying on the baby plan again here, that lets them know what to do, to give me a call starting at 8:30 a.m. and we could talk about the Little Miracle baby plan. So this ad shows the stork carrying my baby plan booklet that we give people, about to deliver it to someone else who is about to deliver. Then the little girl, as you could tell on the right, was shocked. Look, her hair is standing straight up.
Yep, and so this is an interesting additional approach that you can take. Tom typically does this more with his baby plans, this kind of approach, than he does really any other type of photography. Is that correct, Tom?
Yeah, you know, if we run a high school senior photography special, sometimes we'll do this the same way, as far as discounting the creation fee, which is what we charge to actually take the photographs. So you can incorporate that or offer some other discount. I just found that percentages alone don't work. Like, get 20% off this week if you call is not as effective, because people are going, well, 20% off what? And so the idea is to maybe intrigue a little bit, but then get them to get on the phone and we talk to them at that point and fill in the details.
Yeah, you really do a good job of mixing your personality in with the primary direct response marketing principles that are so crucial. And of course, we've talked a little bit about it, but not much. Your limited time and your limited availability. You want to talk about how this ties in with everything else?
Yeah, one of the real popular terms now is FOMO, fear of missing out. And we base everything in marketing on human emotions and emotional responses, and limited time and availability is very powerful because the fear of losing out is stronger than the desire for gain. Meaning, if somebody says, "Oh, I could call and take advantage of that offer someday," yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Rather than, "Oh, if I don't take advantage of this, it's gone." And we are always totally honest. If I say we have 5 dates left, or must do this by Friday at 5, that is hard and fast. I mean it. So that because I base it on truth. So I like to, and there's all kinds of different ways to say this. I vary it, but in this case, I want to let them know that there's only 30 days left before we stop photographing for guaranteed Christmas delivery. Have a few dates left, I promise. But that's it. So you better call us, and you better not pout, you better not cry, you better watch out. Hey, wait, it's not Halloween yet. Meaning people are going, wait a minute, it's not even Halloween yet, and we have a photograph of a baby in Christmas attire. It lets them know subtly as well as photographically that they better act now, even though we're not into even Thanksgiving yet.
Yeah, and one of the key, I'm sorry, Todd, go ahead.
I see one thing here that I would change, Tom, because you bounce between first person and third person in
Yes.
this. So instead of saying call Tom, I would say call me, Tom Morelli at.
Yeah.
So that it's really obvious that it's from Tom specifically to the viewer. Dad, quickly, because we got to keep our eye on the time here.
Yeah, one of the keys to this whole thing is Tom is always, please get this. This is really important. Tom is always coming from a very busy point of view. He's obviously swamped. He's very much in demand. He's been here a long time and he's very good, and everybody in his area knows this. That's the feeling he's coming from, but he's not saying it in such a way that he comes across as being arrogant. This is very important. You've got to look, people want to work with people who are already really busy because they're assuming that they're really busy because they're really good. Thanks, Todd. Todd, are you there?
I am. Yep, this is still you, Dad. You and Tom.
I'll hop right in here. Here's
Thank
another
you.
one that my wife questioned my sanity, but I wanted to catch people's attention. And a lot of times, again, this is a subtle implication of we're busy, don't wait, which is, sorry, October is full. And this was done, posted, I believe, I don't see the date on it here, but posted in the beginning of October, meaning, and it's true, people were calling going, can I still get in October? And it was full. So I wanted to let people know that we're still taking clients for mid-November to mid-December, but you better call now, because if October filled up this quickly, then November certainly will. And again, some are shorter, some are longer, depends on what your desires are. And here we have, again, the copy goes through what we've already talked about as far as the headline and the offer, and what they get and limited time and availability. We want to let people know, and it is true, there's only so many babies or high school seniors or families we can photograph in a day or a week, and that they shouldn't wait, because I turn away as many people as we work with. Unfortunately, if I was 2 people, I'd split in half, and my pants would fit better, as I always say. So I made the offer here, but I just like to let people know. And again, we mix it up. I say it differently in different ways, but the idea is that very limited space available means that, and it also does say call Tom there. Go fix that, will you, Todd? I guess I'm so used to doing it in several different ways that I just get typing. But this worked great. We booked a ton of baby plans off this type of marketing piece.
Yeah, and if you're just starting out with this, if you haven't been doing this for 10 years of this successful Facebook posting, don't expect it just to fall together. After all these years, Tom is able to really, as fast as he can type, basically, he knows where he's headed because he's got all the principles of direct response marketing in his head, ready to go. He's been doing it for a long time. For you, you've got to take a little bit more time, read everything over and over again, have somebody proof it so that, because you won't see the mistakes you make. So let somebody else proof it for you. Always very important. And it will come to you until all of a sudden it's an asset, and you're building up this asset to the point where your photography business will be extremely successful year after year after year once you've got this flowing in your mind. Tom, you want to talk quickly about this one?
Oh, did you say Tom or Todd?
Tom?
Oh, yes. It really is. There's the 5 basic things we've talked about, basically, which is the headline, some emotional copy or something that pertains to the photographs, and then the limited time and the offer, our guarantee, and the calls to action, which we haven't talked about yet, which is basically we're trying to get people to call us right now. And in this case, limited time, limited availability. We don't want to do institutional marketing where someone goes, well, someday I will call them. We want to turn that should into a must. I must call right now. And people often call from work. They're like, I'm at work. I just saw your post. I don't want to wait. I don't want to lose out. What do I do? And so that's what we're looking for.
So next up is the call to action, which Tom just kind of alluded to. So we're going to talk about call to action here. I'll kind of lead this one.
Sure.
So first off, what a call to action is what do you want the person that's viewing this to do next? And don't make the mistake of thinking that they're going to get it. Well, they see this and then they're going to look up my web page. They're going to open up Google and they're going to type in my name and they're going to try to find me, and then they're going to look at my web page and then they're going to love what they see so much that they're going to send me an email. Nope. You got to tell them exactly what you want them to do and make it very clear and give them that phone number right there, which he does right here. That call to action is kind of in the middle there. It's actually kind of throughout, really. But it does say call Tuesday, October 3rd, starting at 10 a.m. Then phones close as soon as the 10th person books. 989-2577, Thomas Morelli Photography with the address. That is so important. Notice what he did there. Not only did he give a specific call to action, which is on October 3rd at 10 a.m., those phone lines open. Call right away, because as soon as that 10th one's booked, we're done. That's it. You're not going to be able to get in. That's scarcity. That's limited time, just like we just talked about, but a very specific call to action. Pick up the phone and call me right away. The reason I think he puts that address in there is just to remind people he's in Brewer, Maine. I'm right down the street from a lot of you. I'm one of you. That's such an important thing too, because I'm guessing, Tom, just a very quick yes or no, you don't encourage people to do walk-ups, right?
Right. And I've seen a lot of newer photographers not on their websites or their marketing put where they are.
Okay.
And so the ad pops up and I'm wondering, is that down the street or is that in another state? They expect people to know where they are. And I find it helpful. People often call me and say, you're in Brewer, right? Yes. Good. We're in a reasonable distance from where we're going to work with them.
Great. All right. And then he says, plus you must be thrilled and not just satisfied, or you won't pay me, with that call back to the guarantee, which don't underestimate how important it is to have your guarantee listed in the marketing that you do. Here's another one. October is Family Portrait Month. Our regular $200 creation fee, which is for planning and creation of your family portrait session, is half price, $99. At last count, we had 5 appointments left in October. So you can see it's tying in with that previous one. This one was obviously done after the one that was sent out before that said we only have, once we hit the 10th, we're done. Now say we've only got 5 left here because we've had 5 book up already. Call me starting at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. Boom, there you go. Same kind of thing, giving them the importance of doing this right away. What is specifically different during the holidays? And that's a really good question. Here's a good point of that. Seriously, would I kid you? Get the family together sometime between November 25th and December 5th and give a great gift for Christmas, a family portrait. The holidays are wonderful for us because it is a very specific time. People are looking for wonderful gifts. It's times when families come together. And so we should utilize that in our marketing to get people to do the thing that is the hardest thing to get them to do, which is to take action now. Don't say, I'll do it next year, or I'll do it in the spring, or I will do it another time, whatever. No, you've got to get them off their butts and get them to do this now. And that's what a well-crafted call to action will do for you. All right, let's talk about gift certificates wrapped in a frame. So this, I'm just going to turn this over to you, Tom, and let you talk about not only the, specifically what this offer is, but how effective it's been for you over the last 10 plus years.
Yeah, a lot of photographers miss out on this, especially if they haven't thought of this concept or they're newer. They're just struggling day to day to book anything. And so if someone calls and we're already booked, or it's too late, or it's too near the holidays to get something as far as a session and finished photographs, you can't just say, sorry, goodbye. So, and I think I base this on me running through the local Walgreens Christmas Eve buying Chia Pets for people. It's kind of a family joke, but a lot of people relate to that. And so the idea is, I said, no more Chia Pets. And that people are like, what's that got to do with anything? And they read the copy, and it's just asking them, have you ever been like me at the holidays and struggled to find that perfect gift? Well, I have an answer here, because people like to have, their challenges resolved, and you can solve their problem. And here's one that will be enjoyed for years and years. You can show the love for your family and proudly show off to everyone who visits the gift recipient's home. Struggle no more. I have the answer for you. So you're providing with a solution, which people really like. A lot of men respond to this one because they're like, what do I get this year for my wife and my family? I've done other things. So we came up with this, and of course, Chuck taught me all this stuff and much more than this. But I just take a piece of mount board and wrapped it, put it in a frame. This is a 16 by 20 frame with a gift certificate. This is a sample to show them what they can invest in, take home, put under the tree, and then redeem it after the holidays, so that the person receiving it knows that they're going to have this beautiful portrait done for after Christmas, and that'll be done by us and so forth. The details are on the little certificate. And many people walk out with these. Either it's just a gift certificate, or depending on what their investment is, we'll do the framed bit, and they bring the frame back, and I say, this is your frame. The portrait will be going in this. I'll hang on to it and keep it in good shape. It's very effective, both for having people invest in wall portraits and get the point that that's what you do, but also it's very effective for them to be, as they say in the copy, a hero on Christmas morning, where usually it's the wife, the target market, going to the husband, what did you think of this? And that's really good.
Nice. And we're going to share some specific numbers coming up here too, so that you can kind of see, how effective stuff like this is. So those are kind of the main things when it comes to Facebook, just regular posting on Facebook. Now we're going to get to the next section, but before we do, we've got two questions I want to answer very quickly. Tom, keep your eye on the time, because we are running a bit over right now. So answer these kind of as quickly as you can, but still as detailed as you can. Shirley asks, Tom, do you get more response using the baby photographs than the family photographs?
I'd say it's about equal. Of course, it depends on the frequency. I tend to run more with the family in the holiday season, because those are the ones I'm after. Baby plans are kind of year round, so I just do those on a semi-regular basis. But the families I really push at Christmas, so I get more families.
Okay, nice. And again, he's flipping between them. He's doing both some baby stuff and some family stuff, because those can be slightly different audiences that you're going after. And obviously those baby ones can turn into family portrait sessions very easily as well. And then Andreas, I don't fully understand your comment or question here, so maybe you could elaborate on it. But he says, doesn't the design consultation consult people about clothing? So I'm guessing that's a question about, do you talk clothing during the design consultation? And the answer to that is yes. The in-person design consultation, which we haven't had a chance to talk specifically about yet here, when they actually come in to meet with us before we actually do the portrait session, we will very specifically talk clothing to make sure that the clothing is going to be the right palette, the right match, that everyone kind of matches but doesn't look too coordinated, that it feels false. There's a lot that goes into that. So I'm assuming that's what you were asking by that, Andreas. If you have a follow-up, please do let us know. All right, let's talk quickly about what Facebook boosted posts are. So what those are is basically, like I said, you're going to invest just a small amount of money. You click on the boost button. This can only be done on a Facebook business page, something you've set up for your business. It can't be done on your personal page. But you want to have a separate page set up for your photography business anyway. It can be attached to your regular profile for your personal page. But to do a boosted post, it has to be done on that business page. You invest $10, $15, $20. It gets out to people who have not seen you before, maybe would not normally see your post because they haven't friended you, they haven't followed your page, anything like that. That's huge. That's what marketing is reaching the people out there who will be your target market that don't already know who you are. So let's look at some holiday specific boosted posts and talk through those specifically. So here's our first one, Tom, and Tom was gracious enough to show kind of the page so you can see how it is set up. When you go through it, it's very simple. It's fairly self-explanatory, but there are lots of programs out there, including one on the online vault for our members, where you can, Tom will walk you through exactly how to do a boosted post from beginning to end. But here you can see you're going to pick your budget. It's going to tell you an estimated number of people reached. You put in your demographics, which Tom put in United States, Bangor plus 50 miles, Brewer plus 50 miles, Kalis plus 50 miles, Eastport, etc. So he's putting in there the major towns around him plus a 50-mile radius around those, and then the age of 18 to 65 plus. So a pretty wide range of ages there. And then you just boost that post and it gets out there to people who don't already know who you are. Here's another one. This is a post we saw earlier, and all he did was he took that organic post and boosted it. So that it goes out to people who don't already know who you are. Now, in this particular case, I see Tom down at the bottom on duration. You've got 7 days chosen. So just very quickly, how long do you typically have these boosted? Because, for myself personally, I aim to have it boosted for maybe about 3 or 4 days. But in this particular one, it looks like you chose 7. Why was that?
Yeah, nowadays, particularly AI has kicked in, and Facebook, when you're putting this together, will actually recommend. They'll tell you how many to expect depending on the length of time that you run it. So a lot of times you can find that sweet spot where it's cost effective. 3 to 4 days usually is, depending on what day of the week I post it, is usually what I'm looking for, just because I want people to know you only have 3 or 4 days to respond to this. So it kind of depends on the generic nature of this. In this case, it wasn't a date related. It says 9 spaces available, then the phone's closed, but it didn't have a call by Friday at 5 p.m. But I would recommend normally 3 or 4 days, because then you're going to gang up that response in the next 3 or 4 days rather than wait a week to see if it worked.
Right. So don't let anything hold you back from doing boosted posts. What's the worst possible thing that can happen? You'll boost a post, you'll put $10 into it. Just put 10 measly dollars into one, and you don't get any calls. Okay, then you can look at it and go, well, why didn't I? Am I wording them the right way? Did I do the things that Tom and Todd and Charles are recommending here today? Did I have the emotional pull? Did I have the limited time? Did I have proper calls to action? Did I have photograph that tied in with the headline and the body copy? All of that stuff is so important, but it doesn't cost you much. That's the beauty of it. Back when I got started working with my dad, before the internet was even in existence, doing a marketing campaign took tens of thousands of dollars and months of effort just to get something up that you could put out there and test. Then if you wanted to roll it out, you had to kind of go through a lot of the cost again to get it back up and running again. Now you can do something like this, and literally within a day, you will have an idea of whether this is working or not. That is incredible. Low cost and quick response. That's the power of using social media, and specifically Facebook. Now, Tom, how did Facebook posts work for you on average over the past few, maybe even the past decade of holiday seasons?
Yeah, well, first of all, just organic posts and boosted posts for both sessions and the gift certificates. So the average over the past 10 years or so, September through November holiday sessions, which is what we're looking for in this case, $16,000 to $18,000 in gross sales. And remember, I have other forms of income coming in from other marketing pieces, because this is not the only way we market, but this is a real cost-effective way. And I was always thrilled with that, because the gift certificates of Facebook boosted posts between $7,000 and $8,000 in gross sales, where people came in and invested in what you saw earlier in the gift certificates for sessions that we've done later, which is kind of cool. pool the next year. We get that business coming in. So the return on investment is just the best of anything that we do. I do other forms of marketing, but this is the best ROI of all of them.
And you can see how you add those up, and that comes to, an average of right around $25,000 for the holiday season, typically September through November, maybe a couple bleeding through into December, and then those gift certificates that you get the money coming in early, and then you get, you're going to, some of the money coming in at least early when they get that gift certificate. And then you're doing a lot of those portrait sessions in January and getting additional income coming in from those as well. Which is typically a slower time of year for photographers anyway, so that's great. Before we move into the next thing here, we've got a quick question from Linda, who asks a specific question about the boosted posts. She asks, could you explain what the $20 actually gets you versus a higher budget? So we said, 10 to 20 bucks is all you really need to invest. And well, I'll chime in on this one if you don't mind, Tom, and if you've got anything to add that's different than what I say, you can add that on the end here. The thing is we as photographers are a very geographically located business. We're not trying to appeal to the entire globe. We're not trying to appeal with our marketing to the entire country or even our entire state. We're trying to appeal to the people that are in our geographical area. And that allows us to not have to spend thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars in marketing because we're going for a very specific local clientele. So with that, you don't have to spend hundreds of dollars. Now you could. What investing a little bit more would get you is it would get that post to maybe run for a little bit longer. Maybe Facebook's algorithm trains itself a little bit better as that post is out there, seeing what people it should go to the best, and it might alter that a little bit and get you a little bit higher results. But not usually. Usually what will happen is $10, $20 will tell you what you need to know. It'll get that phone ringing with, at least a few really good qualified clients, because when your average sale is high enough, you don't have to do dozens or hundreds of photographic sessions. We're talking 3 to 5 sessions, from a Facebook post that maybe cost you $20 to get out there. And with the average sales that you have, then it's very profitable. But if you have one that worked really well, if you did one for 10 bucks and it really did well, there's nothing that says you can't boost that post again. And this time, maybe you want to boost it for 50 bucks and get it out to even more people. So that's really the difference there. Tom, anything that I didn't say that you want to clarify on that very quickly?
No, that's perfectly clear. I can't add to that.
Okay. Andreas also asks, do you do any email promotions and do you do any calling or texting promotions? Tom?
I don't happen to. I collect people's emails, and there are many email marketing blasts that we talk about that can be done. But the rest of what I'm doing here, the 4 or 5 methods that we use for marketing is so effective, especially in this realm, that I just haven't had the opportunity to do that or the need to.
All right. Fantastic. Yeah. So those are options. I wouldn't waste my time on texting promotions. I just wouldn't. Email can be very powerful, but you got to have the good email list. And that's where I think just Facebook is so powerful because it's reaching our target market. All right. Next up, VIP mailings to bring in holiday sessions fast. We talked about the online stuff. Let's talk about some direct mail, because direct mail is incredibly powerful right now because not very many photographers are using it.
Todd.
Oops. Did we lose everybody?
Tom, are you there?
I'm here.
Dad, you interrupted me. What? Dad, are you there?
Hey, Tom, are you there?
I am here.
Dad, hello? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you, Todd.
Okay, then let's keep going. My dad interrupted me. I'm not sure why, but I can't hear, or he can't apparently hear me now. So we're just going to keep barreling forward because I'm watching the time. If somebody would type into the questions box and just let me know you can still hear me okay, that would be great. I want to make sure that our audience is hearing us because apparently my dad can't hear us anymore. Okay, Andreas says yes. Linda says yes. Okay, let's keep going. So, we're talking about doing some direct mail things now because people love getting something in the mail, something physical in their mailbox. And that's, and so few photographers are doing this now because they think, well, I can just do the cheap easy, fast online stuff. And that's leaving an awful lot of money on the table. So Tom has done these VIP mailings to bring in holiday sessions fast. These he is typically sending to his list of VIPs. These are people that he has worked with in the past, but maybe didn't do a family portrait session, or maybe hasn't done a family portrait session in a while, and it's maybe time to think about having another one done. These are extraordinarily powerful. So it's two-sided. We're showing you both sides here. The front side, quote unquote, depending on how they pull it out of their mailbox, is the one that's got the photographs with the testimonials on the left-hand side of your screen there. And it talks about how you can get a gift and you can win a new TV. Really, this is working on many levels depending on who pulled it out of the mailbox. Did the spouse who's really connected to the family or really would like to have these portraits done pull it out? Or did the spouse who's maybe, hey, that sounds nice, but hey, a free TV sounds awesome. It's appealing on both of those levels. Then you flip it over, and on the other side, it's got the words from Tom Morelli. Let Thomas Morelli take all the worry and stress out of Christmas, but time is short. Again, calling attention to the fact that time is passing, that you need to do this now, that you don't want to put this off. And then I'm not going to read all of the words that are there, but it starts right out with, again, hi, Tom Morelli here. Does the idea of Christmas shopping and gift giving scare you at all? Me too. Let me help you. And I promise the only worry you'll have is how to top this year's gift next Christmas. That's the beginning of it. Now, I'm not going to read the rest of the copy here now, but that is so important. See what that did? That just appealed to anyone who has that difficult to purchase for person, or that person that's looking for the perfect gift. That wording is absolutely extraordinary. And that's why this works so well. And then of course it goes through a lot of the rules that we just talked about when you're doing your social media marketing, the limited time offer, calls to action, all that stuff, getting them to pick up the phone and call right now, even as that handwriting throughout it. Imagine sleeping well on Christmas Eve, or do not get her a pocket fisherman again, or gotta run, phone is ringing again, see you soon, Tom. Those are things that call attention to it because it feels like there's handwriting. Now, obviously, he didn't handwrite those himself. We do that handwriting ahead of time, and that's printed on there, but it's printed in a different color ink with that font that looks like handwriting so that it really calls attention to it. And don't mistake, people, that really does grab people's attention. The card size is 8.5 by 11. It's a nice even size. Sometimes you could do like a 9 by 12, but 8.5 by 11 seems to work just fine. And you send this to your VIP list. Even if your VIP list is really small, we live in an age now where you can get 50, 100, 200 of these printed, and it doesn't cost you the same amount it would cost you to get 2,000 of them printed in the old days. So even if you only have 50 people you've worked with before, even if you only have 10, get 10 of these printed and send them out to your VIP list. And VIP stands for very important patron, anyone with whom we have worked in the past. You can put these on your exhibits. Very powerful. We're going to talk more about exhibits in a little bit. You put these on your exhibits as something that people can take off of it, what we call a lift card, because they can lift it off the exhibits. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. And you can use these as joint ventures or endorsed mailings with other businesses in your community, small businesses, local businesses, veterinarians, dentists, doctors that have a list of people, real estate agents, things like that, that sending this out to people will be very, their clients will appreciate that very much. And this can be sent digitally as well as through the mail, but I would encourage you to at least try sending these out in the mail, because that really works better, because people miss getting something that is not a bill and that is not direct marketing for something that they are not interested in. And again, these are local people. They're going to look at that and go, oh, this is Brewer, Maine. This is for me. And there's the back side of it where you can see it a little bit closer up. The words in this is the key to its success. The use of humor and handwriting to give it personality. Down partway through there, I think, do you talk about the Chia Pet on this one again? I can't remember. I'm looking at it very quickly here. Here, I like this one. Just the red in the middle there on the left-hand side. Just imagine the phone ringing on Christmas morning as tearful loved ones call right then to tell you how much they love their portrait of your family. Moms, dads, grandparents, they cannot go out and buy this one item for themselves, but you can, and that's priceless. That's so powerful. Again, talking on an emotional level. And then the comedy is a little bit there on the right side. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa and his jolly helper Thomas Morelli, who has a gift for 9 families. And then it goes into the call to action there. So don't be afraid to use humor and handwriting for personality. Now let's talk a little bit about the numbers. Tom, talk us through over the last, few to the last decade or so years, 10 years or so, how this has worked for you.
Yeah, and it sounds like a little more work than just doing and posting online, and it is, but it's worth it still. You'll stick out like a thumb, a good thumb in their mailbox. I mailed an average of 600 cards each year, and this is from my VIP client list, which is a warm list, people that know and love me, resulting in an average of between 16,000 and 18,000 in gross sales from that mailing. And the total cost for printing and postage was a little less than $1,000. It varies as postage goes up and down, or mostly up. But the printing costs actually, in some cases, have dropped as digital kicked in, and there are places that really are cost efficient in making cards and only the number you need. So if you could take that $1,000 and turn it into $16,000 to $18,000 in gross sales, it is well worth the effort. A little bit more effort putting it together and putting live stamps on there so it looks like it's from a person, which it is, and then dropping them in the mailbox at the right date. But it is worth it.
You bet. And for our members on the online vault, you have access to Tom's actual Photoshop document of that certificate or of that card, and all of the other things that you're seeing today as well. So, and his permission to utilize those, you just obviously have to put your own photographs, your own testimonials in there, but all the rest of the work is already done for you. So thank you again for sharing that stuff with our members on the online vault, Tom. All right, let's get into talking about exhibits. Dad, are you back with us?
I am. I don't know what happened, but I'm back.
All right, well, you're here just in time to talk about one of your favorite subjects. Keep your eye on the time here as we talk about exhibits, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks. If there were one thing you could do that would revolutionize your business and in percentages really not cost you all that much, would you be interested in doing it? I mean, I know it's marketing. I know we don't love marketing. Well, we do, but I know that when I started out as a photographer, I did not like marketing because it was a lot of money and it didn't work. At least that's the way I felt. And then, thanks to Donald Jack in Omaha, Nebraska, who I understudied with for 2 years, I discovered exhibiting my images. And this is one of the most because you're a creative, artistic photographer person. You're an artist. Well, what do artists do? They have one-person shows, and this shows off what you do. And so people start to get used to it as you move your things into different parts of the community. People start getting used to seeing those, and your name starts to, and then before you know it, I mean, there's nothing you can do. I would go and put up an exhibit, and by the time I got back to the studio, my voicemail, well, it wasn't voicemail back then when I was doing this at the very beginning, it was a recording device. And it would have calls on it from people who had seen that exhibit. That's how fast this works. It's absolutely magnificent, but only show your very finest work. And you do not pay for these exhibits. You get them for free. Now, it's not free, obviously, because you have to print the images, but you can get them wholesale, and you have to put them in frames, but you can get them wholesale. So it doesn't cost all that much, and it is so effective, so effective. I don't know what I can say to convince you that this will be a revolutionary thing if you start getting exhibits in relatively high traffic areas, such as a mall that has a store that is closed. That's the one you see in the middle there. That used to be a store in the mall. They went out of business and left that spot. And so we went ahead and put up this exhibit right there. Brought in so many people. The one on the left is a very high-end restaurant in Grand Rapids, and they had these beautiful walls that had been taken from some of the older homes in Grand Rapids, and they allowed me to hang those on those walls. And then the one on the right is Tom. Tom, you want to talk about that?
Yes, that's one of my smaller kind of breeze through, I call that, because usually we also did the walls of children's clothing stores, restaurants, hair and nail
Yeah.
salons, any place our target market frequented and shopped. Sometimes in malls, just as walk by as you did, we found some stores that were closed. The mall loved the idea that we'd dress up that area and
Yep.
that cover it up till that store was built. The particular one you see in the photograph here is in a very small local restaurant, and I do deal mostly with local businesses rather than chains. And this was literally the only place. It was an entryway. So I had a short period of time. I had some time where I had one exhibit come down, and I said, heck, I'll just take them over there with their permission, and we put them up. Still got a ton of calls. People, the lift cards were always out. I kept coming back and filling those up. I got a lot of calls off this display.
Yeah, and for those of you who are members of our online vault, on the online vault are all the details of how you get these exhibits for free, how you do them, everything, all the details are there. But that
All
is
right.
an extremely important part of your marketing.
All right. So, and again, specifically during the holidays, which is what we're talking about today, is you want to make sure that you're putting family photography out there. That's going to be the big seller during the holiday season. It's
Yep.
okay to put, maybe put some of those bows on them. Put a nice red bow on them. And again, it will call attention to, hey, think of this as a gift potential for the holiday season. Little things like that, and then put that lift card, that postcard that we showed you earlier, put that on there as a lift card for people to take away from it. All right, we got a couple of questions here that came in, and then we're going to move into the telephone very quickly here. Shirley asked, Tom, who do you use to do your printing, please?
I use H&H Color Lab. They're in Missouri, but there's a lot of good ones. You know, you can check around. They're not the only one, but I just find that their quality is very consistent. They are very responsive to customer inquiries. If I have a question, I have to change an order on the fly or something. So H&H I've used for probably, I don't know, 20 years or so.
Fantastic. And Bob asks, do you mail these first class or bulk?
I do first class. Well, actually, there is a postage rate. I don't have enough to make bulk worth it. If I was mailing 2,000 or 3,000, but often I will mail first class because I know they're going to get there the next day. Yeah, it costs a little bit more, but there are postcard rates. It just depends on the size of the card.
Okay. And Shirley said she was talking about the postcards. Where do you get the postcards printed?
Oh, overnight prints, one word, overnightprints.com. The word over, the word nights, the word prints.com.
Okay, great. And Andreas asks, Dad, how do you hang the portraits for the displays? Just very quickly.
It's really quite surprising. 90% of the time, I just use these really thin brad nails. They're called brads. They're strong enough to where and of course, there's no glass in any of the frames, so they aren't that heavy. And then I just hang them on the wall. People will let me and that's what so shocked me about that restaurant that I showed you a minute ago. That was beautiful woodwork, and they allowed me to nail a little teeny brad into those nice, beautiful pieces of wood to hang the photographs. But there are other ways. Of course, you could use fish line and hang them from the ceilings down to the frame. I have hardly ever had to do that because people, I don't know, it's such a small little thing, it doesn't make a mark hardly at all. Good question. So that brings us to holiday telephone. And now I know no, he's not going to talk about the telephone. I thought this was a marketing thing. What's the telephone got to do with marketing? It's got everything to do with it because your job, as Todd and Tom have so clearly pointed out today, the major objective is to get them to pick up the phone. That's what we want. We want them on the phone. I know you thinking, oh, but everybody just use texts now. They don't use phone. No, we want them to pick up the phone and call you. That's the objective, because then you can build a relationship with them and they can get to know your personality even better. So on the key points on the telephone, this is your life or your death right here. How you handle that phone, once your marketing gets it to ring, how you're going to handle it, it's crucial. So we have devices we call telecharts, and these are 4-page questions that we use. It's almost like a script, but not exactly. It's not really a script, but it's like a script. And it gives you all these great questions that you can ask a caller that will help you build a relationship with them and find out what they want, because good selling is finding out what people want and helping them to get it.
Right. And if I can chime in a second, our members have access to that on the directly on the online vault. So if you have not downloaded those, as a member, go to the online vault and download those for yourself.
Yeah, just search on the word telecharts and it'll pull them right up for you. And then always you want to turn any perceived negative into a positive for a client. That's so important. You want to be very positive. One of the things that impresses me about Tom and Todd is they both are very positive, extremely positive. When they're talking with a prospect or a VIP, they are very positive, never anything negative at all. So the example there is, we don't have time before the holidays. So they say, wow, we don't have time before the holidays. What are we going to do? Well, we have these incredible gift plaques. Let me tell you about them. They are so beautiful. And
right.
and that's where you go on the telephone with that. And this is for those hard to buy people. We're always talking about on the phone, just like Tom was in the direct response marketing he was talking about just a few minutes ago, is, you know, are you worried? Are you scared about what you're going to get someone for the holidays? That's where we're coming from on the telephone, the same thing. And then you always talk about your guarantee and how it relates to the holidays. It's extremely important because you want to remove all the risks. And then you get them on the phone. As I said, get them on the phone. No, we do not ask for their phone number so we can call them. We want them calling us because we know it's a good time for them. So you want them call. That's the job of your marketing. And then you don't give any real.
And this is responding to texts and emails that you might get during the holiday season.
Yes, you want them to call you on the phone, but you do not, when you're texting with them, you do not want to ask them for their phone number. No, that's too personal. You want them to call you. And then you never give prices on anything, whether it's on the telephone. We'll give a ballpark figure on the telephone. And those of you who have studied with us know exactly, and it's all on the telecharts, exactly how we volunteer the investment. But you don't give the prices, especially in texting or anything like that. The job of the texting, if you're going to respond to a text, you want to get them to pick up the phone and call you. And to do that, you use a curious unknown. And it's, for example, over my years of experience, I have discovered that there is one major key to having a family portrait created that you absolutely dearly love. And I'll be glad to chat with you about that on the telephone. Give me a call now, blah, 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 the telephone number. Okay.
Right. And then we've got email templates. So again, as members of the online vault, you can go to the online vault and search on email. I think email response system. If you put email response system, that'll give you some wonderful templates that are a great jumping off point in ways to respond to emails and even texts that you will get asking about what you charge and so forth. All right. Nicely done. All right, let's go jump into getting more from each sale during the session itself. This is a very little utilized aspect. This is part of the sales presentation as well. This is part of the selling process, is the portrait session. And if you're not doing some of these things, you're leaving money on the table. Smaller groups. So when you're photographing a family, don't just photograph all four of them together in this example here. You're going to photograph, you're going to break the kids off a little bit and do some photographs of just them, because guess what? They may have just invested in just the family portrait if that was what they had. But now that you've got photographs of the children too, they're going to want some of those separately, and it can make for a wonderful, you can easily double your family portrait sale by doing things like that, breaking them into smaller groups, and then also individual portraits like Tom shows here in that collage that he is revealing there. And increase wall grouping possibilities. This is wonderful if you like doing wall groupings where you might have a 16 by 20 and then flanked around that of the family together, or even a 20 by 24 flanked by some smaller images, maybe 11 by 14s of the two children together and maybe a single. Wall groupings are fantastic, and that only happens when you have the forethought to make sure that you're breaking those groups out into smaller groups and individual portraits as well.
Often I have found over the years, especially near the holidays, that this is a great area to reap some extra income without having to do any extra work, really. And that is contacting clients who have already invested in portraits from you earlier in the year. And sometimes people would say, oh, I wish I'd gotten this, or, you know, they maybe had a limited budget at the time, or they didn't get everything they wanted. So these are portrait files that are already retouched and enhanced. So it's easy to place the orders quickly. So we contact these folks. I have a postcard that eventually we'll see here, or you can email it to them, or you can just contact them and say, hey, look, I know you had some portraits that you didn't necessarily get at the time. What a great gift idea for you. And here's a special offer. I'm going to give you a great deal on these so that we can have these done and ready for you to wrap and give for the holidays. And so just letting them know that they're available, and it works tremendously because, again, you're just going into your files, finding those particular files and placing the order with the lab to make prints. Very cost effective, very little time because you've done all the work already. And so they're just kind of like money in the bank sitting there waiting. And this is a great time to do it because it gives them a solution, because they're like, oh, great, that's done. We got those ordered. Terrific. And they don't even have to come in. I literally just take a credit card over the phone and it's done. And we set up a time for them to come back, or we go and deliver them. So this is a great, if you've got clients that we worked with this year, or even sometimes over the last 2 years, particularly this year though, let them know that they can take advantage of this, and you'll be surprised. And again, it's very cost effective. The cards are, if you're going to do mailing, the cards are really cheap. You literally could pick up the phone and call and just say, hey, I thought I'd let you know something that we're doing here, if you got the time to do that. And you'll be surprised if people go, oh, that's a great idea. Can I order the following? So here's some examples of the card front and reverse of what I have sent out. And again, I usually do these by snail mail, and these are to our clients from the previous year here.
Yeah, and you can go further back. Many times, right. I mean, everybody has a time and something that happened along in their lifetime that they wish, man, I remember that opportunity that I had and I passed on it, and I wish I hadn't. Darn it, I wish there was a way, you know, like there was a favorite photograph in that session that you did for them that they really liked, but they just didn't get it. So they remember that, you know, I really goofed up there when I didn't take advantage of it right then and there. And then they get this card and they go, oh, wow, this is great. I can also save money and I can get that photograph I always wanted. Very, very good. Good stuff, Tom.
Thanks.
All right. So Tom, let's take a look at your numbers from the past few years or so doing this particular reprint special.
Yeah, so this brought in an average of $1,900 in sales each year. And again, the cost of mailing to the past year's clients each of those years was between $150 and $200, including printing and postage. So very good return on investment. And again, just one of those things, we had the cards printed, had the names written in the little slot there, popped some postage on, maybe took an hour to do the whole thing, and got them sent out. And the card costs and the postage costs are pretty minimal, even if one person ordered. That covered that, and then all the rest were gravy, so to speak.
Marketing right after the holidays, the gold under the gold. I'm going to turn it over to you guys to go over this one.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tom.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You know, let's say that your gift certificates sell out. You don't have any more time to photograph somebody before the holidays, or someone comes in and says, you know, I'm getting together after the holidays. And many families do get together during the 2-week period right prior to and after Christmas. It's a great gathering time, or any of the holidays, not just Christmas. And this is really good for cash flow in January. So this is when someone comes in and says, yeah, I'd like to be photographed, and you're booked. And they don't want a gift certificate necessarily, or they can do it with this. And you just say, you know something, the week or 2 or 3 after Christmas, I have time then because the Christmas rush is over. Let's set this up and do the photographs when your family is together at home. Because a lot of families, as you probably experience, they're kind of, maybe on Christmas, they just want to have their alone time. I know my family's done this. And then the week after, we get together with the grandparents and the parents and the grandkids, and maybe there's some big gathering, and you go to their home, which is really where the big investments are. If you don't want to have a studio, that's fine, and create the portraits right there. really meaningful to them. And so this is just taking that Home for the Holidays portrait sale, just something I named because I wanted to let people know that we will do this in those 3 weeks. And the great thing about it is then they view and invest in their portraits in January or February, which is normally the slowest time of the year, at least here in Maine. So it's really good for that after holiday cash flow.
Yeah, this is a biggie because you're getting people to work with you during a time of year that is usually, like Tom said, kind of slow. So it's a beautiful opportunity. I just think it's an excellent plan. I've been home for the holidays for years. I really like it.
The Red Bow say, getting your family together during or after Christmas week, it gets right to the heart of the matter. And I just tell, and I only had a couple dates left because I take a couple days off for Christmas too. I take 2 dates left on December 28th to 29th for family portraits at your home or at my studio. Groups of, I let people know as little as 3 or up to 40. Sometimes it's more or less than that, but 2 or 80, I don't care. And I just, with the offer, and I let people know it's limited. My book is full otherwise. Offer ends December 23rd. So it has all those elements in it that we talk about putting together an offer. And that tells them, give us a call. Let's set this up.
All right, Tom, let's take a look at your numbers from the past few years on that campaign.
Yeah, I can always count on between $6,000 and $7,000 gross in sales each year from those post-Christmas sessions. So in the last 2 weeks of December, or the last week of December and the first couple of weeks of January, as we're doing these photographs, then that money is realized in January and February. So it's a great time for cash flow when it's usually a slower time.
All right. Thank you, Tom, for sharing all of that. And now we're going to show a few other recent specific Facebook posts for the holiday season here. Here are a couple of wonderful ones that are obviously baby oriented. The one on the left there says, still accepting a few child portrait sessions for Christmas gift giving. Won't be long. They'll be driving. I love that. Ties in, again, with the photograph that's there. The one on the right, oh, baby, they changed so quickly during that first year. Little Miracles baby plan. Yep. Just because I backed off marketing this, I still have a fun, busy baby portrait program that is economical compared to individual sessions. And that one there, you got a nice collage of images down there. I love that as well, showing some great options there. Here's some wonderful family and children's portraiture. Also holiday themed, both in the photographs themselves. You can see like the one in the middle there. I don't know, I just feel like the one in the middle with the 2 kids that just feels like holidays. Maybe it's the red sash on the girl, the classic nature of it with that painted background. It just feels like the holidays. And the top of that one in the middle, it says the year is flying by, your family is changing, the children are growing up. Let me help capture these moments in time and also give you some amazing gifts for the holiday season. You can see, I wish we had time to read all of these all the way through, but we do not. Really great stuff. Here's some stuff with pets. We're part of the family too. That's so great. And Toppy says, I am often asked if pets can be in family portraits, and we always end up with a nice image of the pet alone as well. So again, you're speaking to that target market, and believe me, our target market, their pets are part of the family. Don't ignore that during the holiday season, especially. Don't be a sad Santa. I should have called Tom sooner, too late for Christmas portraits. Another one where Tom's having a little bit of fun there with that one. Don't be afraid to have fun. That stuff grabs the attention and still talks on an emotional level, of regretting not having done it when I could. Another one there, 8 weeks to Christmas Day, portrait gift certificate to help you sleep better. That's a nice, quick, short one there with just a graphic that's going to catch their attention as they're going through. All right, with that, we've got a couple of questions here that came in, and then we will wrap up here. Thank you, gentlemen, for all of your input. Sorry, we had to rush there a little bit at the end, but we have had a lot of stuff to cover today. And Shirley has a couple of questions here. First of all, the one that I teased at the beginning, this is the one that I want to be sure we have time to answer. And that is, how do you offer Christmas cards? Now, Shirley and I spoke literally yesterday because Shirley and I talk on a regular basis. She's a coaching student of ours. And I was speaking with her yesterday, and she brought up that question because we talked a lot about pricing for holiday portraits and digital files versus wall portraits. And we talked about a whole bunch of stuff yesterday. One of the things she asked is, well, what do you do about, you know, Christmas cards? If they say they want Christmas cards, will you give them a digital file so they can make them? Do you make them yourself? How do you do it? I gave her my answer for that, but I told her, I said, you know, I'm not 100% sure how Charles, my dad, Charles, and Tom would answer that question for themselves. So I'm going to give each of you 30 seconds to give your answer on what do you do about Christmas Christmas cards.
Go ahead, Tom.
I have them as I don't sell files or give files because I want total control on how these things look in the end.
Yeah.
I don't need them on some glossy reproduction, you know. So I don't do that. However, and I don't even market them. I don't even mention them because I'd rather not do them at all.
So what happens when they mention it?
Okay, when they mention it, it will include in certain packages, but they're not inexpensive. You know, H&H does them for me. So we don't want to have someone go, well, why is a 4x5 or a 5x7 print this much and 10 cards that are the same size this much? So only at certain price levels. If someone just calls and wants only Christmas cards, they're really expensive to do that way, and I don't think anybody does that. So
Okay.
how much you price them is up to you, but that's the way I handle it.
All right, Dad?
Yeah, I just don't want to mess with them because of exactly what Tom just said.
Okay. So what if they do ask?
I don't do them. That's just as simple as it can be. In fact, what I do is obviously I'm going to use my telecharts and I'm going to ask them some very important, beautiful, emotional questions. And if I find out that there is another reason besides just the Christmas cards, we haven't had a family portrait taken in 10 years, and my husband has just gotten very sick and we want something really nice. See, there's potential there because I'm a wall portrait photographer. That's what I want to do. That's what I believe in my heart and soul. So, but I don't do Christmas cards.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you. All right. Shirley's got another quick question here. Sorry to cut you off, but we got to watch the time. I want to make sure we get the rest of these questions in. Shirley asks, Tom, what are the best days to post a boosted post? 30 seconds, please.
I just do them weekdays. I haven't found a best. It used to be I tried to time it out, you know, Tuesdays at 8 a.m., things like that. But I have found that if I'm running them for 3 or 4 days, it doesn't seem to really matter anymore. So usually I do them first thing in the morning when I'm doing my marketing. I just start out with designing and posting that and then let them run for 3 or 4 days. You could test, you know, start them on different days and see if it draws differently for you. But for me, any weekday, go for 4 days. It seems to all be the same right now.
Yeah, and I really agree with what Tom just said, wholeheartedly. Do them first thing in the morning because that's the most important thing you'll do all day. Right. So do it first so that you don't skip over it because you're too busy and then you're confused 2 weeks later when your studio is dead, nobody's coming in or calling, you know. So the marketing is the backbone to your business. Who was that, Todd, that said marketing is the oxygen for your business? Gary Halbert. Gary Halbert said that, and I'll never forget it because it's absolutely true. It's the oxygen of your business.
All right, thank you much. Shirley asks, when is your stop date for Christmas photographs? Less than 30 seconds, gentlemen.
For me, it's Halloween. It's always been Halloween. Tom?
I'm out there just a little bit more only because digital allows a slight, over the film days, a slight bit of time to work with it. So I will go up to November 15th. I'm trying to think here. Yeah, November 15th is my last gasp, but that lets people know that their portraits will be back the week prior to Christmas. And often if they want them back sooner for shipping or delivery, then we back up to the beginning of November or the end of October.
Okay. Yep. Last question from Linda is boosted posts versus Facebook ads. I will answer that one very quickly. Gentlemen, be ready for 30 seconds each of your last minute words, so make them count. All right, Linda asks boosted posts versus Facebook ads. Boosted posts, Linda. test them. I mean, my real answer is test them, do some of each, but we prefer boosted posts because they look more like organic posts. A Facebook ad looks more like an ad when it comes through their Facebook feed. And because we're working on an emotional level with a very emotional product, we want it to feel very much like the social media that they're used to seeing, because that's what's going to connect with them the best. I hope that answers that question. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We ran about 4 minutes over, and that's only because I talked really fast and cut off the gentleman. Otherwise, we'd still be going. We had so much to cover today, and I apologize we ran a little bit over here, but it's a lot of stuff, and we wanted to make sure to cover it all very well. Thank you for being here. Take action on what you discovered today. And Tom, 30 seconds, and then Dad, you can bring us home.
So take action. Don't just look at this stuff, but do it to it. And you guys have a great holiday season if I don't talk to you.
Yeah, and I want to thank you, Tom, because I know you're extremely busy, and it means a great deal to Todd and I, and our members, that you would be on here today. You offered and gave us so much great information. Thank you so much. And what I have to say to our the photographers on this event is 10 of the most important words there are. If it is to be, it is up to me. If it is to be, it is up to me. That's it. Nobody else can do this now. You've got the ideas here. You've got a chance to talk with Todd. You've got everything you need really to get going and have a fantastic holiday season. But it's up to you now, right? You've got to take action. You've got to take action, do things that you've discovered today, talk with Todd, things like that. If it is to be, it is up to me. So it was an honor. It was an honor to have you here today. I hope we were helpful. We sure had a lot of fun, because photography is a fantastic, fun experience. It's a great business to be in. Thank you so much for being here.